Ashford 303.
Jenny, it's Kitty. Listen, I'm really sorry, but I can't make it for lunch. Something's come up.
That's all right, Kitty, but, look, there was something I wanted to ask you.
It's not a good time.
Well, maybe I can call you later?
Listen, Jenny, I'm sorry. I'm really busy at the moment. I've got to go.
Who was that?
Oh, Kitty Sanders. I was supposed to be meeting her for lunch, but she's cried off.
You've seen a lot of her lately?
Well, I like her company.
Good. I'll see you tonight.
Bye.
Bye.
Been up long? I'll make some fresh.
Listen, I'll stay as long as you need me. What with Oscar having to go away.
He's only gone a few days, Di. He'll be back as soon as he can. It's so good of you. I know you don't like being stuck out here.
Nonsense. I like it just fine. Good, clean country air.
Just not used to it, that's all.
Gina, love, I wish I could do something to make it better.
You are. Just by being here.
It's Phil who should be here.
He's not much help, to tell you the truth. He can't talk about it. He can't even say Daniel's name.
He probably doesn't want to upset you. Can't be easy on him either. Especially as he's had to go back to work. Now I'm about to make you some toast.
Well, this brings back memories. The Ashfordly Gazette poetry competition.
Really? I don't think you were interested in poetry, Mr. Vernon.
Well, it just takes me back to my school days, David. They always had a poetry competition. Poor Bernard. My poems always did so much better than his.
Really? I've never heard him mention it.
Well, he wouldn't, would he? I mean, he probably still rankles. Here, you haven't got time for all that. I've got lots for you to do today.
She's in here.
Thanks, Dad.
There you go.
Hiya. How you feeling?
Oh, just wonderful, Phil. And how are you?
Just on my way to work.
I think I could have guessed that. The uniform gave it away.
Well, maybe I could go around again. We could go out or something.
I don't think so. It's a bit soon after Daniel's funeral.
Yeah, of course. I understand. Look, Gina, I just want things to get back to...
Normal? Somehow I don't think they ever will.
Morning.
Morning.
Is something wrong?
Herbie Lloyd's results. He's coming in to see me later, isn't he?
First appointment.
Best get the bad news over with, I suppose.
Well, looks like he's lost control here. He's ploughed straight through the bracken and down into the gully.
Who is he? Do we know?
Not yet, Sarge.
A radio of interest. Get him to check the registration number. And you better get Bernard Scripps over here. This car's going nowhere under its own steam.
Yes, sir.
Car's gone off the road at Hog End Lane. I'm too busy here. Will you go and collect it?
Oh, yeah, all right.
Can I do something for you?
No? Well, Yeah, I was just wondering if it still rankled, like Mr. Vernon said.
A lot of things rankle, David. Were we talking about something in particular?
Mr. Vernon always beat you at the poetry competition when you were young.
Vernon beating me? For he has got a poetic bone in his body.
What's a poetic book? Oh, Hog End Lane, right, I'll...
It's a progressive form of arthritis that principally affects the spine, which is why you've been finding it so hard to work.
What can you do about it then, Doctor?
Well, painkillers and steroids will help keep you mobile for the time being. But there is no cure, Mr. Lloyd.
It won't get better then?
No. You have to accept that you can't keep on working indefinitely. Not in your line, anyway. Perhaps you could think about something different?
I've been a gamekeeper all my life, since I was 14.
I'm sorry. But I think you ought to consider something less active. How about working at the estate office?
Paper shuffling? I don't think so, Doctor. I've never worked inside, and I think I'm too old to be starting now. Don't worry, I'll manage. One way or another, I'll keep working till I drop.
Where's David gone now? I told him I'd need him this morning.
Sent him to pick up a car.
Oh, that's typical of you. You don't think to ask me first. You just commandeer him for your own purposes.
And, by the way, you never beat me at any poetry competitions at school.
I think you'll find I did, Bernard.
Didn't?
Did.
I think if you cast your mind back, it was me winning the prizes.
I'm afraid, Bernard, that's what's known as a case of looking back with rose-tinted spectacles.
Case of your selective memory, more like. Anyway, why are you suddenly bringing this up after all this time?
It was just a nostalgic comment to David when I saw they're restarting the poetry competition in the Ashfordley Gazette.
Oh, well, I never.
Anyway, don't feel bad about not being good at poetry, Bernard. I mean, we all have our own individual talents, you know.
I don't know where on earth you got this idea from that you were better at it than I am.
You always found it difficult to accept. Can't have been easy being beaten every time, especially by someone so much younger than you.
Over and out.
Come on. I'm sorry I took so long with the weather changing and that.
It's down here, David. We're going to have to drag it up to the road. Ulf says the car's registered to a Martin Updike. Lives in Nottingham. The car hasn't been reported stolen, but the local force will go round.
Good. So we could be up here on business then. What do you make of this, Bellamy?
Looks like blood, Sarge.
Was the passenger door open when it was found?
That's what the tractor driver said. I assumed it opened on the point of impact.
But there could have been someone else in the car. All right, David, you can take it away. But ask Bernie to keep it at the garage for now. We might need to examine it further.
Yeah, all right, Sergeant Vernon. Alfred, come on!
Bellamy, you can drop me at the station. Look around the B&Bs and guest houses. I want to know what Updike was doing around here and who he was with.
Yes, Sarge.
Crane, get over to the hospital. See if there's any chance of Updike regaining consciousness.
Sarge.
Sergeant Merton! I think I found something. It was Alfred. He went into the bracken and he started barking and he's found this.
Martin Updike. Is that a man, Sarge? It's empty.
You could have been robbed then. Thank you, David. Well done.
Oh, it wasn't me. It was Alfred, really.
Well done, Alfred.
Miles from nowhere. Guess I'll take my time. Oh, yeah. To reach there. Look up at the mountain. I have to climb. Oh, yeah.
Told you it was nothing. Just a silly argument that went too far. These things happen. You've got to keep it in proportion.
In proportion? Have you looked in the mirror? It's not a pretty sight, I can tell you. I knew it was a stupid idea getting involved with this savings and loan scheme. Look, who did it to you? You've got to go to the police, Kitty.
Just leave it, Hugh. It was nothing. It won't happen again.
Nothing. It was assault at the very least. I should never let you carry on with this silly idea.
It's not silly. I'm running a real business. At least it gives me some kind of independence, instead of sitting around here all day.
Look, it were different when it were just a way of helping a few ladies buy a new frock or whatever.
Look, I'm sorry, Hugh, but I just don't want to take this any further.
Well, at least promise me you'll give up the scheme. People understand if you tell them.
It's just not that simple.
Isn't it? Well, it seems pretty simple to me.
Hello. Hi, Jen. How are you? Just wish people would stop asking.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take it out on you. It's just, there's no need to apologise, Gina. Look, how about I pop over later and we can have a proper catch-up? I was supposed to be seeing Kitty, but she's let me down again.
How's the savings and loan scheme going?
That's what I was going to ask her. Well, that, and if I could take some money out for a change.
Oh, you and Dennis thinking of splashing out then?
You'd have a fit if you knew how much the three-piece suite I want really costs. Hence asking Kitty for a loan.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Palmer. Gina, want to come in?
Yeah.
I got that car back. Sorry, it's a right mess. Mr. Scripps.
David, can you not see I'm busy?
Sorry, you don't look very busy.
Oh, it's no use. I'm trying to remember my winning poem.
Is this important? It was a long time ago.
Of course it's important. Vernon's going around telling everybody he was best.
Oh. Hey, what if you entered that competition and won? I mean, that would show him.
Vernon would still say he was better. Unless we could get him to enter as well.
How are you going to get him to do that?
Don't you fret about that, sunshine. I'll think of something.
Alf, the doctor says Martin Updike can't be interviewed yet.
Well, there's no point in hanging around the hospital then. You wouldn't like to give her Mrs. Lampett a visit. She's got a guest house, Stanhope, in Church Square. Only she's given us a call to say that one of her guests has gone missing.
Oh?
Our friend, Martin Updike. Phil's out on the other side of town, so I'll let him know.
Okay, Alf, leave it with me. I'll see you soon.
Bernard! What are you doing?
None of your business.
You're going into that competition, aren't you?
So, what if I am? At least it'll prove once and for all that I'm the poet in this family.
No, it won't.
Why not?
All it'll prove, even if you win, is that you're better than the others, not me.
So why don't you enter as well?
Because I haven't got time for silly little newspaper competitions. I'm a businessman.
You're frightened of losing.
Me? I'd win hands down.
Prove it. Write a poem and enter it. See, you can't.
All right, I will. Just don't get too upset when I win.
Sit yourself down, Herbie.
Seen the doctor about that back of yours?
It's some disease with a long Latin name that I can't remember, sir.
He's
Just got a diagnosis now and get it sorted out.
There's no treatment.
Oh dear. Well, I'd be very sorry to lose you.
I don't want to go, sir. I've worked here since I was 15.
Yeah, but if you can't do the job, I mean, I don't want you straining, making things worse.
I can do it if I have some help with the heavy stuff.
I'd feel happier if I had some sort of doctor's report saying that it won't be detrimental to your health, just to be sure.
Go ahead, talk to Dr. Merrick, sir. I'm sure she'll tell you I'm okay, so long as I have some help. I'll let her know you'll be calling, shall I, sir?
Yeah, fine. I'll have a word. Okay, Herbie.
Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Updike's room constable.
Thank you, Mrs. Lampert.
The moonlight on the water's edge. The swan that swims in regal state. All reminds me of her...
That's private.
Are you sorry? Hey, did you manage to get Mr. Vernon to enter as well?
I told you to think of something. The shift. Don't you go telling him about this.
Oh, it's all right. Don't worry. Your secret's safe with me. Anyway, I should really point out that you've done all that wrong.
What do you mean?
Well, it's a poem, isn't it? You know, poems are meant to rhyme. You know, there was a young man from Dundee who went for a...
Yes, David. Well, don't you worry about that. Just keep all this under your hat.
Oh, hi, Kitty. I'm glad I caught you. Look, what I wanted to talk about earlier was, well, I was wondering about getting out a loan. Yes, but I've paid every week. But there must be some money left, but where's it all gone? Kitty, you can't just give it all to one person. I mean, that is not what the scheme's about, is it? Kitty? Kitty, are you there?
Is everything all right?
Look, can you manage if I take a longer lunch break?
Of course. Sounds like you need it.
Oh, hello. Mr. Script says you're entering the poetry competition.
That's right.
Oh, it must be nice to be able to write poems. I'd love to be able to.
Yes, well, David, as much as I'd like to chat, I've got to get on. I've got poems to write and such.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, it's not like you've got a lot of time left.
What do you mean?
Well, poems have to be in by this evening.
But the competition was only in the Ashford League Gazette this morning.
Well, this week's paper isn't out yet. That was last week's that you were reading.
How much is it?
Nearly £500.
A lot of money to keep in a shoebox. Do we know what he does for a living?
Well, he told the landlady he was a travelling salesman.
Oh, did he? Well, I don't know what our man is doing around here, but I'd lay odds that he's no travelling salesman. Ventress?
Sarge?
Has Nottinghamshire Police got back to us yet about Updike?
I've just come off the phone, Sarge. He was very well known to them.
Anything serious?
All petty. He was a bit of a ladies' man. He was done for false pretences once, and he left owing money to quite a few people.
He left?
Yes, the house where the car was registered hadn't been lived in for some time. They know that because they were trying to find him. Apparently, he ran a save and loan scheme, and he left without paying out to anyone.
They can't have been running one of those around here, though. Nobody'd give the money to a stranger, would they?
Well, according to Mrs. Ventress, your Jenny signed her onto a scheme.
I need to... What's happened?
It's a long story.
My eyes alone kissed, or mine eyes alone kissed.
Mine eyes?
It's a more lyrical way of writing, David. I wouldn't expect you to understand that.
4 gallons, please, David. You on your own again?
Yeah, well, they haven't got time for anything else apart from this poetry competition at the moment.
Poetry competition?
Yeah. Well, one of the Ashford League Gazette.
All right. I wouldn't have thought that Bernie and Vernon knew too much about poetry.
Well, you could be right there. Well, Mr. Scripps reckons that Mr. Vernon hasn't got a poetic bone in his body.
So you think Bernie will win?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I've just seen his poem. It doesn't even rhyme. I mean, everybody knows that poems should rhyme. I mean, he thinks I don't understand.
Maybe you should write one of your own. Prove to him that you can do it.
No, I don't think I could do that. Well, I don't know anything about poems either.
You know that they have to rhyme. I'd say that you've got a poetic bone.
Really?
It's a figure of speech, David.
Oh. No. No, it's got to be a love poem, and I don't think that I could...
Just because it's a love poem doesn't mean it has to be all lovey-dovey. You know, it could be love for a mother, or a place, or something like that.
Really?
You should try it. You don't know unless you try a thing. Put that on my account, would you?
All right.
Bye-bye, David.
Bye, Doctor.
I can't believe Hugh would hit you.
We were arguing. It was in the heat of the moment. I'm not blameless.
There is never a good reason for a husband to hit his wife, Kitty.
He worries about me meeting other men. I know it's silly, but he gets jealous.
Promise me you'll think about pressing charges.
Silly. Jenny's just come for a chat and a cup of tea.
Chat about that stupid savings and loan scheme, I hope. Here, take them. I don't want my wife running it anymore. So you'll take them and run it yourself.
Jenny, please.
How much is in the tin?
£50, 12 shillings and threepence halfpenny.
Well, it's what the book says should be there. If you discount the halfpenny, that is.
But didn't you say nearly £800 had been paid in?
Yeah. And be lent out again. Here and here.
Oh, the cheek of it. So she's lent this George Arrow bloke nearly £500 of our money. I mean, how long has he been putting money in?
Oh, it's hard to tell, Gina, with all these rubbings out.
Yeah. There he is. Oh no, that's George Harlow.
It must be the same man. She just spelt the name wrong.
I've never heard of a George Harrow. Or Harlow.
Me neither.
Maybe you better ask Kitty then. Find out who this bloke is.
Alfred. True friend and companion. Better than bread with cheese and onion. It's awful. The truest friend I've ever found. That's better. Found. Sound. Crowned. Hound. The truest friend I've ever found is a great big, shaggy hound. All right, it's not finished yet.
Can I come in?
It's not a good time.
It's important. I need to know what's going on. I need to ask Kitty about a few things that aren't quite clear if I'm to take this over, Hugh.
Just so long as you don't palm it back off on her. I don't want her involved anymore. And I'm surprised your husband's letting you get involved.
Well, some marriages are based on trust, not fear.
What's that supposed to mean? I don't know what you're implying, Jenny, but there are no secrets between Kitty and I.
Kitty,
You surely don't think that I'd hit Kitty? This was done by someone from that ridiculous savings scheme. Kitty turned him down and he got nasty. For goodness sake, tell her, Kitty.
Please, just go, Jenny. I'll talk to you later, I promise, and I'll explain it all, but just go now.
Are you sure you'll be okay?
Of course you'll be okay!
Please, just go.
I've done it. Just in time.
I've finished mine too. Hands off.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Can we talk?
Of course. But I'm late back, so do you mind if I carry on?
Fine. I understand you've taken over a savings and loan scheme.
Look, Dennis, I would have discussed it with you, but I was put into this position and I really couldn't refuse.
I don't quite understand why you got involved in the first place. It's not as if I keep you short.
I was just being friendly and save you money for a rainy day.
But can you not see what sort of position you put me in if anything goes wrong?
And why would anything go wrong?
What can go wrong will go wrong. Your friends, my colleagues, many other people have put their money into the scheme. And if they don't get their money back, they'll blame you.
Listen, they will get their money back. All the books add up. Kitty's just lent a bit too much money to one man.
Who?
George Harrow or Harlow. I'm not sure which.
And where does Mr. Harrow or Harlow live?
I don't know. Look, I went up there to find out, but...
I think I'd like to take a look at those books, Jenny. And in future, it might be better if you talked things over with me before you got yourself involved in one of these harebrained schemes.
And on that cheek, and o'er that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days in goodness spent, a mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent.
I told Mrs. Fentress not to get involved. Goodness only knows how much money she's lost.
She's not the only one, Alf. Looks like a few folks round here fancied the idea of a bit of extra cash.
And we'll none of us see our money again unless we can link it to Updike.
And this Harrow bloke seems to have been added later, and in a bit of a hurry.
Well, there's no one in the phone book with either of those names.
I think it's safe to assume that he doesn't exist, except as a crude attempt to cover our tracks.
Looks like it.
I think it's time we went and asked Mrs. Sanders a few questions, found out exactly what she's been up to.
Vernon? If you're going to collect Mrs. Hewlett, how are you going to get your poem in on time?
Well, there doesn't seem much point, now that we're no longer competing against each other.
Yeah, but it's bound to win.
Well, it was just a first attempt. I can't help feeling that I could have made it just a little bit better, given more time.
But what about the prize? Dinner for two in that posh restaurant.
I'd sooner give someone else a chance. Someone for whom dinner for two would be a real treat.
Where's Dr. Merrick? I want a word with her.
I'm sorry, she's in her surgery at the moment. I'll tell her you're here.
Dr. Merrick. Interfering doctors. I've just about had enough of the lot of you. What do you think you're playing at? Telling me boss I'm not fit to work? Sticking your noses in? I'm losing my job because of you.
You must have heard of a little Bo Peep. She was the gal with all the sheep. Oh, well, one day it's a sad thing to say.
Hello. What are you doing here? If I'd known you were coming into Ashford, I'd have given you Vernon's poem to deliver.
Oh, why doesn't he deliver it himself?
We decided not to enter. But I think folks ought to hear this. It's a masterpiece.
Where's yours?
Want him putting my foolish scribblings up against this. Hey, the story. Get it in.
Hello, Liz.
I never said Herbie Lloyd couldn't continue working. I just said he couldn't continue with the same level of physical work.
Look, he's a gamekeeper. A good one, but that's his job, and it's
He
hard.
could do lighter things, office work maybe.
How's he going to feel about that? He's an outdoor man.
How do you think he'll feel about losing his job, his home, everything all in one go?
Look, I am not about to put him on the street.
That's not the way he's telling it.
Well, he's upset. It's understandable, but he'll calm down. Then we can talk about the practicalities.
You'll let him keep his tight cottage?
It's in the estate's best interest for me to employ a new gamekeeper who can do the work safely. Where's he going to live if Herbie stays?
That's not my problem.
No, you're right, it's not. Oh. Liz!
Whose idea was it to start up a savings and loan scheme?
It was just something we talked about, and I thought I'd give it a go.
Worst decision you ever made.
Who talked about it, Mrs. Sanders?
Does the name Martin Updike mean anything to you?
Is that him? Is that who hit you?
Yes, Sergeant Merton. I do know Martin.
And every time I get to thinking, with every thought of you, I wanna shout aloud. And then I think about the love I had inside me, how you brought what's inside out.
Who is this Updike?
He's a con man who uses people to set up savings and loan companies, only to run off with all the money.
You let a complete stranger talk you into doing this?
I didn't know he was a con man.
And he's the one that did that?
I hit my head on the windscreen when the car crashed.
What car?
Mr. Sanders, could we just let your wife tell us what happened, please? So you met with Updike last night, yes?
People were asking for loans, so I needed to get some of the money back. They were my friends. When he said no, it was a complete surprise. We argued, the car crashed, and I ran off.
Not before emptying his wallet.
It wasn't his money. It belonged to the scheme, my friends.
Oh, that was the hospital. Updike's regained consciousness. You best get round there and hear what he has to say.
Why did you give Updike the money?
For safekeeping. At least, that's what he told me.
And you had no idea what he was up to?
It was only when we were in the car that he told me he was going and that he was taking the money with him. We were arguing. Then he turned to speak to me and then we crashed.
This car crash is not the one I reported this morning up at Ogden Lane.
Yes, it is.
But that happened at middle of night, didn't it?
Mrs. Sanders, are you sure you wouldn't rather do this at the station?
No, it's all right. He's going to find out sooner or later.
You met this man in middle of night?
I arranged to meet him after you'd gone to bed. I had to talk to him, get the money off him.
This is not to do with no loan scheme, has it? He's your lover, isn't he?
What if he is? Can you blame me? How else was I supposed to get any excitement round here?
Get her out. Get her out of here before I do something I regret.
Oh, Hugh, I'm sorry. I wish I'd never met him. I didn't mean to...
Come on, Mrs. Sanders, let's get your coat.
decided against using it anyway.
Been thinking, Herbie. There's no one knows the estate or the pheasant breeding program like you, and I can't do it on my own. Experienced gamekeepers are few and far between, so promoting one of the lads would be the easiest option.
And the cheapest?
But there's none of them up to the job.
Not without training.
I've no time to train anyone up. Would you do it?
Could take years.
Yeah, could.
I'd be head gamekeeper, like.
Pretty much.
So we're getting a pay rise, wouldn't I?
Don't push your luck, Herbie.
You understand that you're not under arrest at this moment, Mrs. Sanders?
Yes, thank you.
So, tell us about Martin Updike.
We met in Ashfordley. There were no free tables in the cafes, so we ended up sharing mine.
He chatted you up?
I suppose. I didn't set out to have an affair, but he was so different from Hugh. Exciting.
When did he bring up the idea of the savings scheme?
Not straight away. He kept trying to get me to buy things I couldn't afford. He seemed incredulous that I didn't belong to a savings and loan. Said all the ladies in Nottingham did, that's how they got the things they wanted. A few pennies put aside each week, that's all it took. Seemed such a good idea.
So you went around getting all your friends to join?
It took off. Everyone wanted in and the money built up really quickly. Oh, believe me, Sergeant Merton, I'd no idea what he was up to. Do you honestly think I'd have let my friends down like that, especially Jenny?
Could I have a word, Sarge? I've just spoken with Updike. He's admitted to the savings and loan scam.
What did you say about Mrs. Sanders? Was she in on it or no?
Not at first, apparently, but she guessed soon enough and wanted to go with him.
And he had no intention of taking her?
You share the money? Not in his nature, if you ask me, Sarge.
Good work, Bellamy. Thank you.
Sarge, when he told her that she didn't feature in his future plans, as he put it, she went berserk, grabbed the steering wheel and, well, he reckons she tried to kill him.
One of my constables has just spoken to Martin Updike, and he says that you knew exactly what was going on.
I had my suitcase all packed. I thought he loved me. I was willing to risk everything. Stupid, wasn't I? He just used me to get the money, and now I've nothing.
You were in the car when he told you?
I don't know, I went mad, I suppose. I grabbed the steering wheel. I didn't care if we crashed.
You could have died, both of you.
He was my only way out. Do you see? And if he wouldn't take me with him, I didn't want to live. And I didn't want him to either.
Mr. Norton, come through.
Sorry to drop in on you like this, only, well, I felt bad about how we left things earlier.
No, I shouldn't have interfered. Just that I felt bad for Herbie.
You had every right. He's your patient. And you'll be pleased to know I think I found the solution. I promoted him.
Promoted him?
Head gamekeeper. That way he gets a lad to help him with the heavy work while he trains him up as his eventual replacement.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. But is there enough work for 2 gamekeepers plus yourself?
Well, I promise not to tell Lord Ashfordley if you don't. Oh, but there are conditions.
And what are they?
You call me Ben. And, you let me take you for a drink.
Sad.
What's he doing here?
I've come to take my wife home. If you're finished with her.
I'm afraid your wife won't be going home tonight, Mr. Sanders. We've charged her with malicious wounding.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Maud Boothroyd.
Come on, we're late. David, you can't take him in there.
Bernard, what are we doing here? We didn't even enter the competition.
You did. I put your poem in.
3 in total. A sad reflection, some might say, on the lack of interest in literature today. However, there was one particular entry which displayed an extremely keen knowledge of classical poetry. Do we have a Mr. Vernon Scripps here? Well, we obviously had to eliminate yours, Mr. Scripps, for plagiarism. I was hardly likely not to recognise Byron, was I?
You? Shh.
That left just 2 poems, one of which was, strange and interesting, but the other one was clearly the winner. So without further ado, I would like to award the prize for his poem Ode to Alfred to Mr. David Stockwell.
Well, I'd best get back to Mrs. Ventris and face the music.
Alf, I am so sorry. You weren't to know, Jen.
I'd have entered mine if I'd known you were going to be cheating.
I didn't cheat, I just got confused. I remembered it and thought I'd written it.
I've won.
What? The poetry competition? Well done, David.
You wrote a poem, David, and it won.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a lovey-dovey one. I took your advice and I wrote it all about Alfred.
Come on then, David, let's hear it.
You go on, I want to hear it all, seeing as I was done out of my prize.
Oh, it's called Ode to Alfred. The greatest love I've ever found comes not from man, but from a hound, who greets me daily with a barking sound, as on my bed he loves to bound, does Alfred. At my side as I walk around, he runs along and sniffs the ground. My friend is worth £1,000,000. My good and loyal, faithful hound is Alfred. And that's it.
Would have beaten mine.
So you're going to take for the dinner for 2?
Not Alfred, I hope.
No. I thought maybe Gina and Mr. Bellamy might like to have it. Well, I thought after all that's happened that they might deserve it more than me. Yeah.